However, one issue that we still need to see certainty on is the matter of continuing consequences as it relates to the renewal of mining rights, which is a material industry for our industry in South Africa. We believe that this constructive dialogue that we've had with our Minister will continue and will bring a resolution to this matter. Today I'm going to talk briefly about South32 and the changes that we've made to our business in the past year, both globally and here in South Africa, before looking at the role of Eskom in securing our national competitiveness. But first, let me give you a brief overview of South32's business. We have operations and development projects spanning 4 continents, and we are listed on the Australian Securities Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Here in Southern Africa, we have sizable energy coal, manganese and aluminium operations with almost 8,000 direct employees. Since South32 was formed in 2015 as a spin-off of BHP, we have remained focused on our purpose to make a difference by developing natural resources, improving people's lives now and for generations to come. In the 2018 financial year, we paid almost $170 million in taxes and royalties in South Africa and Mozambique. Globally, we have spent over $20 million in community investment, with 85% of that being spent here in Southern Africa. The last 12 months have been very significant for us at South32, as we have continued to review and shape our portfolio with a bias to base metals. The global shift towards a low-carbon economy is driving the use of renewable energy, electric vehicles and batteries. Our industry has responded by working to ensure continued supply of the commodities that the world needs in a more sustainable future. In addition, we are working to reduce our own carbon footprint. For example, we recently installed a 3-megawatt solar farm at our Cannington operations in Australia. We are positioning South32 for the next phase of commodity demand growth by creating a pipeline of development opportunities in commodities that we believe will have strong fundamentals into the future. In August last year, we completed the acquisition of Arizona Mining, which added the high-grade zinc, lead and silver Hermosa development option to our portfolio, as well as a very prospective land package around that deposit. We also acquired a 50% interest in the Eagle Downs metallurgical coal project in Bowen Basin, Queensland, and have exercised the 3rd-year option with Trilogy Metals, targeting a very high-grade copper extension in Alaska. We have also entered into several exploration agreements with junior partners for projects in Australia, the Americas and Northern Europe, as we continue to identify projects to add to our portfolio. The strength of our balance sheet has always been a priority for us, and we remain committed to our capital management framework, where we firstly maintain safe and reliable operations and an investment-grade credit rating throughout the cycle. Secondly, we distribute a minimum of 40% of underlying earnings as ordinary dividends. And finally, we allocate excess capital amongst competing scenarios of firstly reinvestment in brownfield options in our business, external acquisitions, further greenfield exploration, and our capital management program. This disciplined approach has allowed us to return $483 million to our shareholders in the December 2018 half year, through the payment of $316 million in dividends and $167 million through share buybacks. In the past 12 months, we have also commenced managing our South Africa energy coal business as a standalone business within the South32 portfolio, with its own dedicated management team. This has allowed us to simplify the way that we work by collapsing our regional structures to create a single set of global functions that work directly with our operations. This simplification has allowed us to deliver around $50 million of annual cost savings, which will further help us mitigate the industry-wide inflationary pressures. We also commenced a process to broaden ownership of our South Africa energy coal business, and we expect to receive binding bids in the June 2019 half year. Our intention for South Africa energy coal is that it becomes a black-owned and operated business, as we believe this will best support the long-term sustainability of the business while also supporting South Africa's transformation agenda. We believe that coal demand will remain resilient in nations with relatively new coal power plants and those with planned additional capacity. We believe that this commodity will increasingly become contestable in the seaborne markets, but those that have typically integrated operations with low-cost deposits near the plants will remain competitive for a long time. South Africa is one such location which creates future demand for our South Africa Energy Coal business. Divesting our thermal coal position in South Africa to a black-owned business will enable our South Africa Energy Coal to be more effectively compete for new supply contracts and for mining rights. We are also working to define a mechanism for the participation of communities and employees to share in the value generated by this business, in keeping with the spirit of the Mining Charter. South Africa Energy Coal is a large and complex business with a sizable resource base, existing coal processing and logistics infrastructure, and a significant position in the world-class Richards Bay Coal Terminal. Thousands of employees and contractors directly depend on this business, with more indirect jobs and local businesses having a vested interest in its long-term sustainability. We are investing 4.3 billion rand in the Klipspruit extension project, but additional investment will continue to be required to deliver on the full potential of this business. It is imperative that we identify an owner with the necessary mining expertise and financial backing to ensure the sustainability of this business. South Africa Energy Coal plays a critical role as a major supplier of coal to Eskom and also has a significant export position. And we fully understand the need to ensure the continuity of supply to Eskom in the long term. We have a very strong working relationship with Eskom, both as a supplier of coal as well as a significant off-taker of electricity. But we, like many others, are very concerned about the challenges that have increasingly threatened the sustainability of Eskom's business. Eskom continues to deal with these challenges, and it is encouraging that the process of renewal is underway with the full support of the President and the Minister of Public Enterprises. Eskom's board and the CEO, Pakamani Hadebe, have made excellent progress in recent months, but there is significant work which must be completed to stabilize Eskom's business. The forthcoming recommendations from the Presidential Task Team will inform the work which has to be done and the timing. We see a number of key priority items in the short term. Firstly, we believe there's needed an equity injection from the shareholder to recapitalize Eskom. Secondly, we believe an aggressive cost reduction program in all areas of the business is required to support Eskom's sustainability. Eskom's twin challenge of overstaffing and a shortage of key technical skills within its workforce must also be addressed, with gaps in capability to be remedied, with training as a matter of urgency to improve the technical performance and availability of key generation plant. We support the views that Eskom should be broken up to ensure appropriate management focus on each of its core areas, and believe this work should commence in parallel with short-term measures. South Africa's future economic growth and the fulfillment of its development aims are inextricably linked to the sustainability of Eskom. But Eskom's situation is the single biggest risk in our view to South Africa's economy. In the near term, potential tariff hikes and supply interruptions present a challenge to energy-intensive industrial users, as they risk a fall in output coupled with increasing costs. Urgent action on stabilizing Eskom can help minimize interruptions to customers while avoiding tariff hikes, which is key to ensuring industry remains competitive and continues to employ millions of South Africans. The government is focused on increasing foreign investment as a key component of a long-term reindustrialization of South Africa, and that we believe can boost jobs and business opportunities. However, the price of electricity is a key factor in South Africa's ability to compete for investment in industrial development. When compared to other countries, the cost of power weighs on South Africa's bid to increase foreign direct investment and impacts its existing industry. The current scenario risks a downward trend in the proportion of electricity sales derived from industrial customers, a reduction that Eskom cannot afford, and that increases the likelihood of further tariff hikes for all. These consequences can jeopardize South Africa's economy, reduce enterprise development, and slow the creation of jobs. Industrial development is long-term in nature and requires stimulus to bring investment that will add sizable, consistent demand and predictable revenue to Eskom. Eskom's consideration of an industrial tariff has potential to boost efforts to attract foreign investment, but to be effective, this tariff must be designed and implemented with this goal in mind. It is imperative that this tariff reform takes place urgently to protect our existing industry and to create the right environment to attract foreign investment. It goes without saying that all parties must work together to ensure Eskom's stability. As an industry, we stand ready to assist by sharing our collective experience and expertise in the future sustainability of Eskom. Over the longer term, however, we know Eskom needs a business model which will retain key industrial customers who are already large domestic employers, but whilst also supporting South Africa's competitiveness on a global stage. Eskom is the engine of South Africa's economic growth. A robust national power utility that is sustainable over the long term will benefit everyone, and in particular our mining industry, which relies heavily on competitive power.